Alright, y'all, welcome back to the experimental cooking show. Somebody that I love in my life who requested steak sandwiches. You know, I don't really feel like getting down with nothing too. It's a birthday, you know, you want it to be special. So I got some ribeyes, and these ribeyes, as you can see, are $15 a pound, and I got 2.10 pounds. And yeah, you see the wrapper, you know where it comes from, but even when I checked other places, they were on par. I mean, look at them, man. I mean, they are pretty big and pretty juicy looking. So the thing that I love about ribeye is the fat. I love ribeye. I personally prefer bone-in, but since we're gonna make some sandwiches out of it, I figured leave off the bone, that extra weight for what, right? Let's get all the meat we can. So yeah, I already cut one in half. They were in the freezer. I put them in the freezer yesterday to let them harden, let them thaw out a little bit, so I can cut it as thin as possible to prepare for marination and to get ready for tomorrow's sandwiches. So I'm gonna transfer to the cutting board, and then we'll slice it as thin as we can. Alright, so let's get to this. You know, again, I'm trying to make this, you know, still frozen because I want to make this as thin as possible for the sandwiches. I don't want any thick bites of meat. So here we go. Let's give it a shot. Remember to tuck your fingers, unlike me, who never does that. Yeah, look at that. Look at that joint. That's what's up. And then we're gonna keep going. As thin as you can, or as thin as you'd like it. This is preferable for me and my special someone who lightweight is a choking hazard. I'm just gonna put that out there quick. But yeah, so let me finish slicing this up, and then I'll come back and we can season. Ignore my finger, ignore that. Okay, so you guys might notice that I chopped up, thinly sliced some red onion, and we have fully sliced our 2.1 pounds of ribeye, pretty thin. I definitely recommend freezing the ribeye for a little while so that you can achieve these sort of cuts without like slipping or anything like that. The ice just grips the knife and carries it through. So now we're gonna season. We have some cayenne. We have a half teaspoon of cayenne. We have a full teaspoon of garlic powder. We have a full tablespoon of seasoned salt, whatever you prefer. And we have a little less than a quarter teaspoon of black pepper because it spilled over. And so that's what we're gonna roll with. If that isn't enough for you, do your thing. Alright. So we're gonna start off with this seasoned salt. And we're gonna just carry it through. Dang, it don't even look like I need a full tablespoon of this joint. Yeah, no, I ain't gonna put the full tablespoon. That'll be a salt lick. Alright, and then we have our little pepper. Little pow. Don't sneeze, cause I'm tight. Cause I'm too tight. Alright, then we have some garlic powder. Roasted garlic powder, I believe. I'm gonna go right on. We want all of that. I love garlic powder. And then for a little spice, cause the person I'm cooking for likes it a little spicy. Likes a little bite. So we're gonna add a little cayenne. I'ma die. I am a wimp when it comes to spices, but this ain't about me. So you want to get in there with the hands. You want to mix it out. And this is the day before. So tomorrow, Saturday, I'm actually gonna be whipping these sandwiches up. All right, so this is gonna sit overnight. I'm gonna incorporate the onions into this, so it's all gonna marry. I didn't have any onion powder, so I figured why not just let it all come together, and then when we cook it tomorrow, the onions will caramelize and it'll be a whole situation. All right, I'm actually gonna, it's how I can tell how well I've seasoned, is I can smell it. So 1 second. Might seem weird. I'm gonna add more salt, more seasoned salt to it. Might seem strange, but it's what it is, man. That nose is pretty much everything. It's such a big tool in the kitchen. So yeah, and I'm gonna just pack this up. And tomorrow, if like I feel, you know, like this isn't enough seasoning, then I'm gonna add some as I cook. All right, we're going into a bag so that it could all come together nicely. And I can't believe like 2 pounds, like if you cut it right, like how much it actually yields and what it looks like. So that's gonna be plenty for 2 folks. Yeah, just gonna chill overnight, and before we cook it, we'll set it out on the counter. It'll come to room temp, and we'll move on to other things. All right. Let's hop into these pickled red onions. So as you can see, I finally chopped a half of a red onion. There's the other half over there chilling. It's photo op, you know, ready for it. We got some sea salt that I'm gonna measure after. I couldn't find another teaspoon that sugar in, so I have a little mustard seed. I have some sugar, teaspoon of sugar. I have a cup of white vinegar, a cup of that brown, a cup of that of that apple cider vinegar, and a measuring cup just to keep everything in order. I also have a teapot of boiling water, so I'm gonna get that. We're gonna do about a cup of that. I'm gonna pour a cup of hot water. Pretty damn hot. I'm also gonna pause for a second on that and, you know, toss everything around. I'm gonna stuff some red onion. I did about a half, no, I did a whole half of red onion, but you don't have to. I think the idea is that the hot water is gonna shrink and soften, but still I don't want to stuff it too much, so I'm gonna call it right there. So we got that done. We move that to the side. Got our hot water. We're gonna add mustard seed. We're gonna add a teaspoon of sugar, the white vinegar, the apple cider vinegar, and then I'm gonna come back in for salt. So I'm gonna do a teaspoon and a half of salt. We're gonna mix that together. Get everything dissolved. I'm gonna actually take a little sip because I'm curious as hell. Yeah, damn, that's definitely vinegary. We're gonna pour it right over. Our red onion. Then we're gonna grab a top, put that on, and let it hang out for a while until we're ready to use it. So another part of this sandwich is a horseradish cream sauce. I remember when I went to prom and I went to this fancy ass restaurant, and they set us colored folk all the way in the back, and we were surrounded by very judgmental faces. It was the first time that I had had steak and horseradish sauce, and I hated it. But today's a new day, and I have, like, you know, fully grown my palate, so we're gonna give it a shot. So the first thing that's gonna go in is a cup of mayo. My preferred mayo is like Best Foods or something like that, something without a lot of flavor, but that will you know, just lubricate that bun and add some fattiness to it. However, I shopped at a store that didn't have that, so I got the next cheapest one, which is a really organic and all that other shit. Okay, so then you have some sour cream, a 1/4 cup of sour cream. You have some Dijon mustard, a tablespoon of that. You know, and depending on what I feel like when I taste this, when it's all together, I may add some sugar, sweeten it up a little bit or something, because vinegar is here in the building. And I'm only going to put a splash because I also have this prepared horseradish that has vinegar in it. Also, the mayo has vinegar in it. So I just want to be cautious of the vinegar. And then we have a teaspoon of black pepper. And I have over here some minced garlic, 3 cloves of minced garlic. Now we're going to give this a good stir. It sounds lovely. Straight up ASMR right here. For those of you who like that. It also calls for salt, but I do find that mayo can be kind of salty, so we'll just give it a quick taste. Oh, listen, horseradish will give you that kick that you need. The vinegar is going to give you that kick that you need, and also tame down the fattiness of the ribeye. All right, so this is the sauce. It's pretty saucy. It's also pretty pungent. If you don't care for a super pungent, kick in the face sauce, then I would suggest maybe adding less horseradish. I added 2 tablespoons. But it's peppery and it's creamy. It doesn't need any salt. It's good to go. Potatoes. So another part of this sandwich situation are fries, and I'm not gonna fry fries. I really suck at frying, to be honest. So I'm gonna roast these or bake them and try and get them as crispy as I can. Something that people do, or something that I watched my mom do growing up, was put water so that your potatoes don't dry out and become weird and powdery sort of on the skin or whatever. So yeah, just put a little bit of water, didn't drown them or anything, just to keep them hydrated. All right, and now I have one more potato to cut, and generally how I do that is I create a flat surface so that it sits up, and then I can chop down. Oh damn. And the goal is to keep everybody uniform so that when I go back through to make my other cuts, and if you're having trouble, you don't trust this. This is a sharp ass knife, so I want to make sure I'm making the wisest decisions when I cut. So if standing up doesn't work anymore, then you can always put it on the side. The trouble is trying to figure out what goes where when they all go everywhere. So I'll line them up as much as I can, and then just go straight down. You can make them as thick or as thin as you'd like. I like mine sort of matchsticky. Well, not matchsticky, thicker than that, but you know, regular French fries, not wedgy. Although JoJo fries are pretty lit. But yeah, something like that, and then I'll just toss them in here and lubricate everybody. Come back, pick up the scraps, and then finish off these right here. And please wash your fingers, because I was not watching mine. And then throw them all in a bowl. And then I'm just gonna get them all wet and let them chill until I'm ready to bake. Alright, so got some sheet pan set up, got the oven preheating 400 degrees. I poured off the water, the starch that was left over from the fries, and now I just put a couple paper towels in the bowl, and I'm just gonna toss with the paper towels, and they will absorb a lot of the excess water. As you can see, they're disappearing. It's because they are soaking up that water. All right, then I'm gonna remove them. Pretty wet. There's another in there. All right, next step is to pour some of the fries out into each sheet pan. I'm going to hit it with some olive oil on each side. I'm not a fancy mom, you know what I mean? Like, I just want it to taste good. Hit it with some salt. And then toss them together. Try and get them flat on the foil. You can use parchment paper. You can go flat on there if you feel like scraping up potatoes for the rest of your life. Whatever you into. As long as everybody gets comfortable and squeezed in here. You know, some of the fries are going to be crispier than others, which, you know, we all have our things. Some people like crispy fries, some people like a more soggy fry. I personally like somewhere in between, so we're going to achieve that. So these are going to go in the oven, 400 for probably a good 30 minutes. And when they come out, we're going to hit them with some garlic and Parmesan. So we're getting some bread toasted off here. It's a French bread, really soft, chewy bread, but not so soft that it can't hold the weight of some steak and some onions and cheese and whatever. So we're just letting these crisp off a little bit on the griddle. Got some butter underneath there. If you feel like you're not getting the kind of color you want, then you can always put something weighted on top just to weigh it down. Take a little peeky peek. Nothing's happening, so don't worry, you didn't miss nothing. Yeah, so we're gonna finish those, getting those browned and buttery, and then I'm gonna add the meat right onto the same buttery griddle. Alright, so next thing, we're going to, I have 3 cloves of garlic here. I got a couple tablespoons of butter, and we're just making garlic butter for our garlic fries. So we're gonna get that in there. We're gonna get the garlic in. We're gonna let them become one, and we're gonna keep them in there until the garlic starts to smell and get toasty and all that goodness. And yeah, we're just letting it melt. We'll put on a relatively low heat, medium low, and you're all good. Oh shit, my breath. Look at that. And then we switch over here to the bread. You see it's got that brown butteriness going on. Yeah, man, I like it. I like it like this. I think I'm gonna give it a go ahead and call it. All right, and then we're gonna move to the meat. So here goes our ribeye that we have marinating in the fridge overnight. I set it out probably an hour ago just to try and get as close to room temp as I could. So yeah, I'm just gonna cook this off, man. You might have some meat left over. I don't know. Add them to your meal preps like me. I'll add them to my sandwiches or salads or something. Let that cook. You want it to get like a crispy bottom. I'll come back through. I'll flip it. And we'll go from there. Alright, so these are all our fries that we roasted off. A little olive oil and salt on 400 in the oven. Some are extra crispy, some are really wriggly. But yeah, so here is our butter mixture for our garlic fries. And we're going to take it and pour it in the bowl. And then on top of that, we're going to add our fries. Some of the fries might be a little stuck to the foil, but you know, make do. Alright, so here we go. We got most of it. I'm going to add some salt to that. Even though I salted it before, but I feel like there was enough. And then I'm going to toss it in the garlic butter. Bruh, you can smell that, bruh. Oh my goodness. Alright, I'm going to add some grated parm in there as well. And again, I'm just give it a little toss. And then boom, you got your garlic parm fries. Alright, back to the meat. So it's been cooking. I'm going to try and flip it. See what's happening on the other side. Whoa, look at those caramelized pieces. That is the damn business right there. So we're going to go ahead and spread it out more and let it continue cooking. My goal is to get as much char and brown on it, like that piece, as much as I can to bring out more of that flavor, and also to melt down the fat a bit more. Alright, so this is pretty much what we were going for. A little extra char. You're welcome to leave your meat on for as long as you want, or as short as you want. I would say that I'm just removing this for serving, but I would say that if you're going to going for a medium rare or a rarer meat, then I would probably cut more of the fat off. If not, you're gonna end up with a lot of just chewy fat, which we may have some here, but it'll be that biting to get all in your mouth fat. All right, so then we're gonna prepare for assemble. So got the meat, we got our toasted French bread, we have those pickled red onions. You remember when we started off, they were, you know, purple onions. And since they've been sitting and steeping for probably about 5 hours, they've released that beautiful pink red color. Yeah. And then we have our horseradish mayo. And for me, I'm going to have some cheese on mine. And of course, baby arugula. I mean, I don't know what life is without baby arugula. So here's how it's going to go. I am going to get a little bit of the sauce on each side. And you know, feel free to add any like ketchup or anything that, you know, works for your palate. Ketchup on sandwiches doesn't tend to work for me. But you know, I understand. Then I'm just gonna go in with my hand, grab some of that meat. Yep, it's hot. You guessed it. It's pretty damn hot. But this is what it is. Go over here to this side. Get more of that meat from the bottom where it's extra hella hot. And I'm just gonna stack it up like so. And then I'm gonna grab a little bit of cheese. Hopefully it'll melt just a little bit. And then I'm gonna go in with those pickled red onions. I'm gonna grab a fork. Take some out. Put them like so. I'm not crazy about pickles and stuff like that, so I'm gonna leave these to the birthday girl. With the birthday girl like arugula? Alright, so birthday girl wants a little arugula. Don't worry about the mess. This here is art. You feel me? Art. And then we assemble. I want to thank you for taking the time to enjoy the experimental cook. I will be here on a weekly basis, so you might as well get used to it. Come on over, like and subscribe. Experimental cook, we out, baby.